Alright, good morning. See, there's only one person in here currently, which is completely fine because we'll record this and I'll post it later for everybody to check out. I would really like to go over Fibonacci sequences, whether it's intraday trading or swing trading. It's a tool that you can use that gives you intraday targets, it gives you swing trading targets. And it's just a huge tool to use that I don't think enough people use. So a lot of times when we're taking alerts during the day and people are trying to figure out when to get out of these trades, they don't know when to get out, they're looking for targets. And what this does is it's going to give you targets to take. So let's go over that and I'll show you how to set them up and what targets are the ones you look for, what targets are the ones that you enter on pullbacks. And yeah, so go from there, and if you got any questions, just let me know. And after we get done with this Fibonacci lesson, we can go over any other questions you guys might have. So just gonna get right into it. This is ABV. So what I do for intraday targets, we're just gonna go blast through some intraday target stuff, and then we'll go over some swing trade targets. So what I do for intraday targets, it's really simple and it is accurate as hell on just about anything, whether you're playing penny stocks or, you know, big blue chip stocks, so anything really. So what you do is you take the first 30 minutes. So I wait for the first 30 minutes to pass over here. So what I do is obviously ABV's in a big downtrend in this first 30 minutes. So depending on what charting system you use, on TradingView, it's right over here. You go grab your fib retracement. You just take the first 30 minutes. So here's 10 o'clock. Here's the high. It was over here about 9:34. So you just take that first 30 minutes and you do your high to low or low to high, and then you snap it and you leave it there. So after this first 30 minutes, what are we looking for? We're looking for pullbacks, obviously, because 10 o'clock hit, we're starting to pull back. So if I think this thing's going to continue down, I'm going to be watching these couple levels right here, mainly the 618 level. That's a huge pullback area. So if we're trending up and it starts to pull back, I'm going to be looking at the 618 area to pull back and find support before it goes higher. So once we get those pullbacks and it starts to support those pullbacks, what do we do to try to get it to come back down? So we're going to watch the 618 area. This 618 area is obviously just holding like crazy. Now it's actually in a big squeeze here for a while, but eventually we make it down. So once we hold that level, and you could get aggressive and take a trade on this level, and if it starts to crack, and maybe use a stop around this 50% line, because once it passes that 50%, we might be changing trend to go to the upside. But we hold this 618 level pretty strong throughout the day, and then eventually it cracks and we come down and make it to our 127 level. Now this 127 level is our first profit taking level that we like to look for. This 127 is huge. Now also we like to look for this 1618 level, is also very huge. Just one second here. Alright, just muted you, so if you need to talk, let me know. Alright, so if we would have broke this 105.86 level, we'd be looking at this 1618 level, which is 105.43. So it doesn't happen, we hit this 127, and that's where we start to turn around. Because what happens is, during the day, you get to the pullback level, you come down, and you start looking at these profit taking levels, which is the 127. So we hit that 127, and bam, we just continue all the way back up to the 0% line, which was the high of day. So just super simple things, and we'll go over a few more charts so it doesn't get as confusing. But we snap that first 30 minutes, we're looking for the pullback area, which is the 618. It held it, dropped it all the way down to the 127 target, and then, you know, people start buying the dip right around here. So let's just go through a couple of them real quick. So that's ABV. Let's see what some other ones are on here that look like they're good setups. AMD looks okay. This had a lot of nice range in it. Trying to find something that's got some better range in it for the day. So I know everybody likes to trade this. So same situation, we're going to go through, we're going to find this first 30 minutes, so 10 o'clock, basically in this big old squeeze area over here. So this is our high, and 10 o'clock, right around here, so one of these couple candles here would be our low. So we snap our line. So once again, we hit our 100% line, we can't break it right away. We do pull back to the 618 area right here just a little after 10 o'clock. And then what happens? We start to pull down. So once we pull down, we're going to be looking at these couple little profit taking areas down here, and these are going to be our targets for trading intraday. So if somebody was in a short on AMD right at open, or if they swung AMD and this thing starts dropping and they say it in chat, what's your targets? So I'm going to be telling them, you know, my targets, you know, 93.91, that cracks, we're going to be looking at 93.22. So we're going down, we're dropping, we hit this 127, we get a big old push under it, which I think at this point was probably trying to fake people out to continue short, and we got stuck here. So what happens is we keep coming down, we're bouncing around these fib levels, and then eventually we make it down basically to this 1618 before it finally turns around for the day and comes up. But we never actually even broke above to the 618. We never broke above this 50% line, which would have showed me a change in trend. So for the most part, AMD on this whole day on Friday was bearish. So we're going to be looking at those levels. We snap our first 30 minutes, we watch those pullbacks, and then we go from there. Let's go down to another one. Amazon. After this, we'll try to find some that were bullish on the day, but Amazon, same thing. So find your first 30 minutes. We got our high up here, have our low basically right here. We're gonna snap that right there, and once you snap it, you can see how awesome it looks and how much it respects these levels. So we get it, we come down to the 100% line, and this one was a little bit trickier because we get a big move all the way up here, but Amazon has such big moves in it. But all you're going to be doing is watching how it looks on those channels, so, or the levels. We come down, we're bouncing around, and eventually we make it down to this 127. So if you would have been short, this would have been a first area to look to take profit from. Now if this cracks, we're going to be looking obviously for a 1618 level, which is down here. So we hit that 127, they start buying it up, and then eventually we can't get past this little consolidation area here just above the 50%, which was pretty strange because once you can cross over that 50% on these intraday fibs, you usually start to get some upside, and it did it a few times here throughout the day, but it never actually held that level. It cracked it and just kind of went sideways before it eventually fell back down. So once we start finding some support over here during the later part of the day and we start to crack these levels and actually hold them, we actually get a little push throughout the day. But a bullish one that we had for sure, I know, was Tesla. Obviously there was a few of us that swung this into the next day and actually already got fib levels on here. So the same situation. Let's get this open. Alright, so we got our low, we got our high of the first 30 minutes. So this one's obviously a little bit stretched out a little bit more because it was bigger moves. So let's get our two levels right here. Alright. Just make the chart a little bit bigger. Okay, so I gotta make it a little bit smaller. Alright, so here is our first 30 minutes. So we got our high, we got our low, we snapped our lines. So we're over here running. Obviously a bunch of us got out here, but we have our first 30 minutes. So now what I'm going to be looking for is we're actually downtrending. So if we would have cracked the 0%, I would have been looking for downside targets. But right at that low, we never turned back, and eventually we cracked this 100% line. So if you're trying to do some scalping or anything, if you crack this 100% line, you can, do a quick scalp up to these 127s, take your profit, and then see what it does. It's going to crack this 127. We're going to see what it's going to do. But the same thing, we ran all the way up, we couldn't quite break out of this 1618 area. We pull back, we're pulling back right to this 100% line. So we're going to be looking to see if it's going to hold this 100% line or if it's going to fall down. If it falls down, we're going to be looking at our 618 level to see if it holds that before it continues back up. But it doesn't, it holds this 100% line before it continues up. So now we're just going to start looking at targets again. So it keeps cracking these levels and holding them before eventually making it to the 227 line. Now if you see me posting in chat a lot on some of these stocks that are just running like crazy throughout the day, they run up to this 227 level is basically the max that it gets to each day, unless something is just parabolic running throughout the day. But if you can ever see something get to this 227, I have a good idea, and I'll be looking very hardcore at shorting for the day, whether it's a scalp or a day trade. But it does not crack this 227, and if you would have shorted that, I mean, that's a huge payday. And you know, something like Tesla, you can do one contract and, you know, make $300, $400, $500 off one contract on a move like that. So but we make it up to our 227, then we're just going to be looking at the levels. You know, it cracks down, comes up, and can't quite hold this 200% before it fails down to this next level, and it just, you know, bounces around. And like I said before, the 618 ultimately on pullbacks, so it was obviously a nice strong uptrend throughout the day, and it's pulling back. So this 50% in the 618 area is big deals. The 618 is usually a strong pullback area, and the 50% area is usually the reversal of trend area. So it pulls all the way back down. And how many people that might have got in here a little, seeing this area right here, they're like, oh, Tesla's screwed, I'm going to short this. They're getting FOMO. You know, up in this area was kind of hard to determine whether it was going to, you know, continue up or break down. We get this big candle drop here, and then eventually down in this area, you know, how many people got trapped here going short in this 850 area before eventually it, you know, it just turned around and decided to run back up to the high of day. But you know, that's the nice thing about having these fibs on here. Like I'll turn them on and then I'll turn them back off, and I'll keep snapping them on and off throughout the day if it's something that I'm playing. But people are getting trapped here. But if you had these fibs here, you would know, okay, if it closes under this 848 area, I'll be looking to short it. I know someone was asking in chat yesterday, they were trying to short, and it was when it was bouncing around this whole area right here. I said, you know, make sure the 871, if it can crack under that, or it was either this 879, one of the two, said if it cracks under that, then I'll be looking to short it. But it has to crack under that area first. And you know, you just want to make sure that these levels are testing or breaking. But Tesla right here is a perfect example of, you know, this little intraday Fibonacci going on. I mean, it held these levels awesome, and it just was really good to use. But keep in mind, the 618 is always a nice solid pullback area, whether it's trending up or down, and it's a good tool to have to not get you into some FOMO plays. A lot of days during the morning, something will be taken off and you hesitate, and then all of a sudden you get into this play and you take a really bad entry, and then it pulls back to that 618 area, and you could have got into a whole lot better entry on that. So we can go over a couple more. If you got any questions about this, just post it in the chat and I'll talk about it, or turn your mic on for a minute and ask away. So open to any questions that you got. You know, there's a couple other ones we can throw on here for intraday stuff. Neo, for instance, looks like I got some bigger fibs on there. I'll just delete these off there. Alright, so Neo, let's go to our full day. So Neo, for the most part, was trending up for this first 30 minutes, or trending down. But it doesn't actually crack after the low of day for that first 30 minutes. So here's our first 30 minutes. Let's throw our snap our lines in there. Bring this one down a little bit. So here's our day right here. So that candle actually comes down to here. It's just hard to see a little bit. So I got our lines here. So what we're going to be doing is just looking at these levels. So we run. Here's 10 o'clock. We snap our lines. So we're going to be watching these levels. Now this would have been a hard one to play until it actually, you know, breaks out of this 100% line. So we got a first 30 minute just jumbling around. So eventually we crack it. We can run up to that 127. So once it hits these levels, you just want to see how it acts. So this thing is bullish as hell when it hits this 127 level. If it hits this level and you start seeing a couple red candles, obviously mine are a little bit gray. But if it starts to hit that and you get a couple red candles, we're going to be looking to maybe take it off or scale out if you got a few contracts. But it breaks this level, it holds the level right there. You know, you got 3 candles just going sideways before we get a little bit of a hammer candle busting off it. And then we run basically up to this, you know, 1618 area, a little bit, maybe 3 cents shy of it before we start to pull down. So remember, these 127s, 1618s, they're targets. And what happens a lot at those target areas is people start taking profit. I mean, market makers use Fibonacci. This 30% orb fib, I call them, opening range breakout. It's just those tools. You want to find these tools that not everybody uses and gives you a little bit of advantage, because the market makers are not your friends. They're here to make you fail at trading. They don't want you. They want your money. So any of these tools that we can use to, you know, to play on the same playing field as the market makers, we want every bit of tools we can. I mean, you can throw moving averages on your chart all day long, but that's what everybody uses. You gotta sometimes just think outside of the box a little bit, and messing around with these 30-minute fibs are a great tool for that, for profit taking areas. And you can see just by watching these charts that these 30-minute fibs, it hits those targets and usually just decides to go the other way. You know, so we're a few cents off from Neo right here, then we start to pull down. So remember, if we're taking this trade short at this profit taking area, we're going to be looking at this 1618 area for either a spot for it to continue back up, or we're going to see if it breaks this 50% for a trend change. So it pulls down, and it does come down to this 50%, bounces off it, comes back up before it finally fails and loses it. A lot of stuff was kind of dropping in this area here, but we kind of had a bullish engulfing candle right over that and ran all the way back up to this 1618 area. So it's something really cool to use. 30-minute opening range fibs are awesome. If you have any problems doing it, or you know, if it's Monday or whatever day next week and you're having trouble with it, let me know. Or just, you know, post some charts, man. I'd love to see some charts in chat. You know, don't be ashamed of any chart you ever post. If it's a good chart, it's a good chart. If it's not the greatest chart, then we can talk about the chart and get it looking better. So but yeah, I mean, these targets are huge, man. So any of those alerts that come across and you're wondering where the target's gonna be, just draw some 30-minute fibs on there. I mean, let's just go to let me go to one of the alerts real quick, like Futu, for instance. I know this was one of the alerts right at open. Here was actually the you know, the alert to get in this trade was right here. Let me get this stuff off of there. So here's our full day on Futu. So if I was in this trade and I took this alert went off right at open yesterday. So right at open, we get an alert on Futu in the options alerts channel. You know, it kind of pops up, comes down, comes back up. So let's see where 10 o'clock is. 10 o'clock is this candle right there. So we're gonna check it. So if you took this trade, 10 o'clock hits. Let's get it down a little bit. Actually, where's 10 o'clock? Oh, 10 o'clock's up at this channel. Okay, so right here. So we're running. There's no reason to even take this trade off. But somebody posts in chat, say, where's the Futu target? So after 10 o'clock, I can say, well, this is a big run. Let's see this 66 area, see if that holds. If it can't break out of this 127 area, then I might be looking to take profit. If it breaks it, we're going to be looking at, you know, 6803. what doesn't break that. So right here at the 100% line, we pull back, hold that 7.8, but we run up to this 127. So if I was in this trade, which is a huge move, it was almost almost a $6 run that we could have got on Futu there, which is for a $60 stock is a huge payday. I never played it. I don't know if anybody played it, but I know there was somebody asking where the top was on it. So we hit that 100% line, we break right through that, and we run up to the 127. So what are we going to be looking for? If I didn't take profit on this, if I wasn't paying attention and all of a sudden it's right here, okay, what am I going to do? So I'm going to be looking at my 1618 or my 618 area, because that's our pullback area that we discussed. So we hit our 127, we pull back, now we're in the test zone. So we hit our 618 area and we run back up. So someone was scalping or just doing a little day trade. I mean, that's still damn near a $4 run just from this little pullback to the 618 back up to the 127. Now we crack it a couple times, but we never actually crack it and hold it. Then we come back down to this 100% and basically squeezes for the rest of the damn day. But I mean, if you would have took this alert at open, there's no reason to take this trade off. I mean, maybe right here a little bit you would have got scared. The fibs ain't on there yet. You get a little pullback. I mean, but it's still a couple dollar run even if you would have took it there. But if you would have held out, I mean, these candles are strong all the way through that first 30 minutes. You snap your lines. Okay, now I got my targets. I'm going to be looking at this 66 area. I'm going to be looking to make sure that this 100% is strong. So if it doesn't even break this 100%, I would be looking to take my profit, right away. But it breaks it, goes up to that 127. So now you're at 66 share looking to take profit here. So as long as if we would have broke through that, we could have held it all the way up to 68, but we didn't. But yeah, so that's basically it for intraday fibs. It's super simple to do, and it's something everybody can use. It doesn't matter what charting system you use. They have Fibonacci on there, and yeah, so I guess when I start doing some swing trading, I know one that I already have mapped out is Tiger. Let me auto this. Okay, so I know this is one that a few of us are in, whether it's options or shares. I know I got a bunch of shares of it, and right here we're over here. I got into this play. Where was it? About 7 something. Right here, around we got into this play. If ideally we would have tried to get into it right here at this 618 pullback, but it's the same situation. You have your high and your low. Now obviously you don't have a 30 minutes to go off of, but you still want to look at a nice low area from a big old area, and then you want to look at a pull down area. So if I was looking at this chart, so I'm going to take this Fibonacci off here. So this currently is Tiger right now. I'm looking to get into it. I'm going to be looking at a pretty strong low, and then where was our first major pullback? Was right here. So I'm going to take this. Right here is our first major pullback. I'm going to pull it down to this low. Now I got my levels. So here we are, and right over here is where I got in. So we almost had a trend change here at this 50%, which could have just drove it back down to the super penny stock area. But all right. All right, I need to get a drink for that. All right, I'm ready. All right, so basically it's just messing around in this area. So what made me get into this was over in this area here. I use this thing that I know, I'm sure you guys hear me talk about, is I got these burst programs. So I can know when I see a lot of institutional investors start to get into a stock, which is a huge advantage. It's kind of costs a lot of money a month to get into this for the few plays it actually gives out, but when it gives out a play, it's usually a huge move after it. So right in this area, it started sending out some burst program areas. So we hit our 100%, and then right here is about where I started to call this trade out. I said, all right, I'm buying a bunch of shares of this. I'm looking to get into this trade. So it was kind of a risky trade because we didn't actually break and hold this 100% level yet. which would have been the area I would have normally took it, but the burst programs were going crazy, and I didn't want to get caught into like a big candle that took it up to 9 and then be chasing this thing. So we got in a little bit early, and it paid off because I'm up really big on this already. So this is what we're looking for, and I know I've called it out in chat a few times once we broke this 919 area, because if it would have rejected this 919 area, we would have had to take profit, which would have only been a couple dollars on, you know, a $7 stock at the time. But I said if we can crack this 919 area, then we're going to be, you know, sitting pretty up to the $11 area. So we are literally, you know, 20-30 cents away from this 1618 area that I'm going to be watching hardcore. And also if we get stuck in a downtrend, then we're going to be watching to make sure this $9 holds, because if it doesn't, we could run all the way back down to basically a little bit above our you know, area that we got in. So I'm going to be looking at these areas really hardcore, but if we can break this, we got 13 in us. If we break that, we got 14 inch in us, which would probably be my ultimate goal, is this 1485 area. But yeah, so that's how I can do these on the 30-minute chart. I mean, we can look up just about anything. I know Roku's been going crazy right now, so let's draw and find out where some Roku targets are. So here's obviously our low. We don't have a significant pullback area, but I kind of like this one right here, or even this top right here. So we're gonna just line them up, and then you want to see how they look after you line them up and make sure you got the right pull down area. So we got right there. This looks pretty good to me. So after you roll, I mean, just look how beautiful it looks on there, which is kind of stupid to say, but when you look at Fibonacci and how it just holds those levels, it's crazy, and it's something that you always want to look at on your chart, because and you can delete them right after, you know, get those targets in your head and delete them, because I don't like to, you know, have a big old muddy chart all the time. But right now, I mean, it looks like we're going up to this 200% level, which is 424. You know, we're sitting right there at 399, which is crazy. But when everybody keeps telling you that, oh, the top's in, no way Roku can run anymore. Well, it's running, and we got another target now. So I mean, right here people were probably shorting at $380, but if they would have just threw some fibs on their chart, they would have said, oh, okay, well, maybe just looking at Roku, I got some fibs on there now, so I probably wouldn't try to short this thing until 353.90 breaks and it holds under that 353.90. So if I can get a daily candle to close, or if I'm looking to, you know, swing this, you know, maybe the last 15 minutes of the day, if I can get it to close under this right here, and I know it's gonna, the daily is gonna close over it, I'll swing some puts on it. But there's no way to even swing right now until something happens. I mean, it ran all the way up to this 618 area, pulled down a little bit, and just exploded through that. So now we got a 424 target, and after it's up this level, I mean, this thing could hit 474, which is crazy. But I mean, not really. I mean, you got Shopify up in the $1,000 level, so I do not think any price targets are crazy anymore, and there's no reason to short anymore unless it's significant and you hit these levels. But using just a simple Fibonacci chart gives you these targets. So but yeah, so like Roku right now, I mean, these are two big areas to watch, and the thing that sucks is it's about $60 a section away. But let's see if it hits this 424, and if it starts to reject off that 424, we'll see how it reacts to those levels, because this could be two huge, really good plays to watch on this. So and you can go through anything. Netflix, see what Netflix is at. I already had a lot of stuff going on with Netflix. Just delete some of the stuff off of here. We can draw some fibs on it. I know Netflix is a really good one for respecting Fibonacci. Alright, so we got our low right here. We could go over here, but it kind of already had a little bit of a trend up and down there, so we gotta go to the current run that it's on. So right here would be the low of this current run it's on, and I kind of like this pullback here. It might be too soon, so let's try here, or we'll go up there. So we're going to snap our line, our high and our low. We're going to see how it looks, so let's zoom in a little bit on this. Alright, so same thing with Netflix. We hit our 100% level, so once we hit that level we can start to see what it's doing, watch how it reacts to these levels. Now if Netflix was right about in this area and somebody said, where's your target on Netflix, we could have instantly ran some fibs on here. We would have said, I got a 433 target, and we'll see how it acts there. So, you know, you hit your 433. Once it finally breaks through that, where's our next target? 483. We hit our 483 target. Where's your next target? 537. We hit that. Now, the cool thing about this is like I said, that 227 target is huge. Where'd we hit? Exactly on that 227 target. Then it gets smoked for, you know, damn near $100, and now we're just kind of in this giant, you know, almost $100 Darvis box right here, just going straight across. So right now, but the thing that I find when I'm looking at this is both of these triple pullbacks that we had here, almost a little head and shoulders, every time it broke over this 200% but couldn't do it. Broke over this 200% but couldn't do it. Well, this time it couldn't even do it a little bit, so this we might actually get a little bit of a pullback here, pretty strong to crack these levels. Because the thing that I'm noticing is it's cracking this to the downside, trapping short sellers. It's cracking the upside, trapping some bulls up here, and then it's just doing, it's almost like it's just trapping these people on this Fibonacci sequence that's going right now. So it's pretty interesting actually. So and huge plays to be made in Netflix right here, but it does not matter what chart you go to. You can snap some Fibonacci lines on there. I would love to see your chart. Just post some that you might be thinking of, and it's great to use on plays you're in. Like if you're swinging a play, you're wanting to know what the target is on this play, and it just gives you lines, and it gives you cut lines. So if you're in a trade and you're worried about where to cut this trade off at, well, now you have lines to use for a stop loss. And I don't know if you use Trading View, but the cool thing about Trading View is say I'm in this trade right here, and let's just say we're like over in this area. So if I'm in this trade, I can snap a line here and actually, you know, set an alert for it. I could say crossing down, so if I'm long on this, you know, crossing down, you could just do Netflix stop loss and hit create, and it'll actually alert you that you just hit your stop loss area. Or the same thing, you can do it and snap it and send an alert for, you know, telling you that you're at one of your profit taking levels. But Fibonacci is super simple. You can watch thousands of videos on YouTube about it where they'll make it really complicated, but it doesn't have to be complicated at all. It's super simple. You find a low and a high, and you know, you want to find a current trend, like with Netflix right here. When we zoomed back a little bit, there was a previous low over here, but that trend kind of played out. So we're on a current trend right now, and this is the proper setup for Netflix fibs right now. So huge area, and we hit our ultimate goal of this 227. So we might actually, you know, start to reverse a little bit on Netflix. But the way the market is right now, I'm not calling tops on absolutely anything. So, but yeah, unless you guys have some questions, just please let me know. If not, we'll head out of here and, you know, work on these Fibonacci's, post some charts, and I'll let you know what I think, and you know, we'll go from there. Alright, so it doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to put this video together, I'll post it, and for everybody to see. Look forward to seeing these Fibonacci charts posted in chat, and go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next one.